Hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Ram. You've caught me in the middle of a bombing run with a new experimental low altitude interceptor. I made another one of those before. I forget what it was called, but I did make one. Alright, so we're firing at one GPS target. Okay, we've fired. Now we're going to load the other GPS target and fired it. Now we're going to switch to AGM 144s. Fire one of those. Fire another one. Cut the engine, deploy air brakes so we can slow down because we need to be able to actually, Okay, good. We've successful fire. Go ahead and throttle back up. And I've heard something else detonate. And something else. Okay, so I don't know if those were successful or not. But we're going to go ahead and pull back around to have a look. And you can see the underside of the plane right there, although that's not particularly helpful. You can see that we have a fuel tank mounted there, and looks like our bombs were unsuccessful in taking things out. All right, let's put on the air brakes. Let's do this. Let's I forget how you from GPS. No, that's to GPS. How do I? Oh, I know there's a button for it. I just can't remember what it is. Oh well. Fuck it. Let's fire some manually. All right. Throttle up, because we don't want to hit the ground. Fortunately, this thing maneuvers pretty darn well, so we're alright. Also, you might have noticed... Oh, well, the ECM jammer isn't on right now, but we do have an ECM jammer. And we do have, let's see, liquid fuel. Where's the oxidizer? So our oxidizer isn't being used. That's interesting. Okay, so now you can see the design. I forgot that I just made it so you can see the design. Okay, hold on. Let me pull that up so you can take a look at this. Let me make sure that's actually running. Yes, it is definitely running. Okay, just wanted to confirm. So, this is what I'm calling the YF-35E. And the Y is my own addition. The F-35 is because, well, if you look at what I took it from, it is F-35 based. But if you look at the actual design that I'm doing, it's not very F-35 based, which is why I'm calling it the YF-35E. And the E comes from the fact that it's actually based on a design used in the game Vector Thrust, a fictional variant of the a fictional variant of the F-35 inspired by the YF-23, which if you did not know, the YF-23 is an actual thing. And if you hold on a second, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but I do have a alarm going off, so I'm definitely going to stop to take care of that real fast. Ah, yes, I took out the administration sensor. No, not the crew. No, that's the administration. Yeah, I got that right. Shh, I know what I'm talking about. So I don't know how well you could hear that alarm going off, but I encourage you not to worry about it. Let's go ahead and make this a high-speed bombing run. So we're gonna drop Mark 82s. Actually, let's go ahead and slow down, because that's a bit fast. Alright, here goes, and releasing. Alright, I released 2. I don't know if we'll be able to actually hit with either of those, but something made a boom noise. Alright, pulling massive G's turning. This thing can pull serious G's. It can also go to a pretty damn high speed. Anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the G's, various things that we have on board. Oh yes, we also have rockets, so I can, if I want to. Yes. And I believe I also can fire rockets with 2. Yep, just double checking. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and throttle down. Actually, I'm going to put it about there. And I'm going to air brake to slow down a little, as well as pull up. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and come in on the R&D center and fire several of these rockets. So, alright. Let's see, I don't know how many of those rockets I fired. Actually, I do know. I should have had 46 of them when I started. That's 23 on each side, and I now have 5 left. You can see the resource, since I do have the resource manager open right now. And this is kind of also serving as a test for how well this thing... There we go. Oh shit. Pull up! Oh! Yes, this thing... So, the interesting thing about this craft is the control surfaces. We only have 4. We have 2 elevons, which are used for every control surface we have, every control type we have. They're used for pitch, yaw, and roll. Of course, we have a vectoring engine. It's actually 2 engines, almost perfectly placed inside each other. You can see with the highlight that it clips a bit, but it visibly doesn't show Z-fighting. Or at least, if it does, it's Z-fighting... Yeah, it is Z-fighting, but it's Z-fighting in a way where, because of the texture, you don't really notice the Z-fighting, which I really quite like, because it makes it so that I can have something that looks like a single engine even though it's 2, and functions, well, as 2 engines, because it is 2 engines. And so that's quite convenient. We also have, as you can see on the bottom here, we have an ECM jammer embedded into the hull partially. We have the, of course, the laser targeter. We have 50 cal turrets, which I completely forgot about until just now. I'm gonna go ahead and turn those on. We have 4 of these tiny whatchamacallit intakes, the adjustable ramp intakes for our intake. I believe these are jettisonable. Yes, they are. So we can just, wow, that came off a bit sharpish, I guess I could say. Sharpish? No, I'm not sure if that's a word term thing I want to say. But yes, we're going to go ahead and use these 50 cal turrets to do a... so basically what I'm testing right now, actually, because this is the first time I've done it, I'm testing this thing's ability to, as you can see, our flare and chaff dispensers there. I'm testing this thing's ability to handle itself at low speeds, because I haven't really flown it at low speeds until now. I'm going to go ahead and just enable the air brake, just constant. And I'm going to go ahead and... One thing that I should be able to take out fairly easily is that... Oh good, we are able to pull up pretty well from that. We're still going at a pretty decent speed. Yeah. Still going at a pretty decent speed despite... oh, yeah, that's slightly out of our range because of the way I'm turning. Now we are losing quite a bit of speed, so I'm going to go ahead and throttle up a bit. I believe this should be a comfortable speed to be at. Yeah, because this thing can actually... fly at a pretty low speed, which is nice. Okay, yeah, I thought that was enough. I wasn't 100% sure if that was enough gunfire on it to destroy it, but I was pretty sure it was. This should also be able to be destroyed, although it's proving more difficult. And I've actually overheated the guns firing at it. But yeah, this is the, like I said, this is the low altitude interceptor variant. So it's designed to come in low and fast, and it has ground attack things on board. I'm going to go ahead and disable that stuff for now. And as you can see, we can go up quite a bit. We can go up like this. It has a good thrust weight ratio. I think even with those, even with the engines not in wet mode, I believe it has pretty good thrust weight. The roll is not the best. It's slightly awkward, and it's because we have very strange control surfaces. But it works out all right. It was very difficult to get this thing to fly right at all, because the wings are not really ideally placed for the rest of it. It also is cheating ever so slightly with... Actually, I wouldn't... You know, the space is mostly not taken up in there, so I don't really consider it cheating to have the extra fuel tanks, the extra small fuel tanks it has in the sides here. In fact, actually, I thought it had 2 extra fuel tanks in there, but I was wrong. It only has 1, it looks like. Yeah, it just has 1 in the back. Huh, that's interesting. I could have sworn I had more going on back. No, wait, there it is. Yeah, there is 2. So you can see I have a fuel tank there, and I have another... Oop, come on. Another one here, and there's a, whatchamacallit, a inline reaction wheel in there as well. And we have these small fuel tanks with oxidizer on them. These are primarily there for the fuel cells so that we can run the ECM jammer indefinitely, or at least theoretically indefinitely. I think the ECM jammer has some sort of thing where it can only run for a certain amount of time, even if you have the electric charge to keep running it. I'm not sure if that's true, or maybe it's just the system I have with a single fuel cell. It can't quite keep up. Let's see, with the afterburner enabled, it can keep up, but without the afterburner, it looks like it does slowly run out. So I can actually just go ahead and put another, another fuel cell in here, and I'll just put another one in there, so there'll be 2 hidden in there. And that should work quite nicely. But yeah, this is a thing I just started making because, oh, look at that, some G effects going on there from pulling down negative G's there. And it's pretty damn fast. I mean, it's got 2 of these, what are they called again? Panther engines. And as you can see, we can pull serious G's with it. If there's a pilot in here, they'd be dead right now. But my favorite thing about it is that, well, we'll see if it remains true, but I believe once you're at, well, actually no, because this version I've worked on making it more maneuverable, so you can't continuously pull up sharp and maintain the speed. In the earlier prototype, you could continuously pull up and it would maintain high speed. Of course, it wouldn't pitch very much because of that, unfortunately, but even so, it should be easy to fly, and like as long as you don't pull up continuously like what I was doing, you can maintain a very high speed and pull up and do maneuvers and combat and that kind of thing. And I think it's a pretty good design. I had to oh yeah, this is one of the slightly cheaty things, is having these in here. I think they look nice. They also allow it to be a little bit more maneuverable and have better aerodynamic properties by just having that little bit of extra lift up front. And yeah, that's pretty much, that's most of what's going on here. I'm going to go ahead and go into the SPH now to show you what it looks like in here. And I believe I'd already fired off some of its ordnance when I started that video. Yeah, I'd already fired the JDAMs, I believe. So yes, you can see I also have JDAMs on here. And you'll notice I really do have the room for more weaponry on here. But one of the things is, I wanted this to be, it's kind of based off of the idea of a stealth aircraft. So I wanted it to kind of be stealthier in its weapons loadout. So you can see that all the weapons are kind of very neatly, tightly packed in, kind of hidden behind things. The only real exception to that is these rocket pods are quite a bit out there. My favorite part is how the Hellfires are almost tucked away because of the way the wing is designed, which is slightly odd, but I think it works out all right. I like it. But right now, excuse me, right now what I need to do is I need to see if I can take and put 2 of these in here, and I'll put them pretty much in the same spot and then move them in like this. I think that looks pretty nice. And let's go ahead and undeploy that so we can take a look at how it looks. Because as long as it's kind of, it doesn't look like it's clipping too much. Yeah, see, it doesn't really, you can kind of see that it's clipping back here, but mostly you can't. Mostly it looks like it's intended to be there, and then once you activate the brakes, you don't really see that either. I mean, you can if you're really looking for it, but that's my thing with clipping, is like, as long as it's not too obvious, it's alright. You know, like, as long as things look kind of alright, you know, it's kind of alright. I really do dislike how this kind of fits together. However, I'm willing to overlook it because overall I really like this. Especially just looking at the overall shape of it. Look at that. I just think that's really cool. Anyhow, now that I've modified it, I need to check the action groups because 8 should be enabling the ECM jammer and the fuel cells, and I need to make sure that they're actually, hold on, let me pitch that. So am I highlighting the fuel cells, both of them? Yes, I am. Am I highlighting the ECM jammer? I should be. Of course, the highlight. Yeah. Alright. So I'd say that I am done with this design. Let me go ahead and save this revision and test it. Before I do, though, let me show you the center of mass and center of lift. This version is notable for having the landing gear actually, the rear landing gear are actually pretty much reversed from how they were on the initial design, because they had to be for the landing gear to not be in front of the center of mass and have it, you know, tip on its rear when you try to take off. So as you can see, it's pretty well balanced. Of course, you'll notice a lot of the armaments on it are behind the center of mass. Part of why it looks particularly balanced is actually the armaments that are on it. Just look at it. It's so sleek and sexy. Yeah, I really like the design of this, and I need to go ahead and go into resources here and hit 8. And we should see that our electric charge stays about the same. Meanwhile, the ECM jammer should be on. Let's go ahead and right-click on it. Enabled true. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and open up the BD Armory thing here so I can keep an eye on its current status. And deselect the flares, because that happens when I grab the BD Armory thing. Oh yes, let's go ahead and raise the landing gear. And let's go ahead and engage the engines and just pull straight up. Actually, let's disable the engines entirely, pretty much. And you can see that with the engines off, it's unable to cope. And we start slowly running out of electric charge. If I start pitching, we also start to lose that. Let's go ahead and enable the engines, but have them on the less electric charge producing mode. And in fact, let's enable them, but only keep them at about 1/3 thrust. And basically, I'm trying to see what conditions this thing can keep up with the power. So as long as you have the engines full throttle at this, it looks like it can keep up just about. Maneuvering does, of course, take more power, and wet mode produces more power. So that kind of tells you what you can expect with the jam run here and the fuel cells. They can keep up all right. Where's my oxidizer? There's my oxidizer. So you can see the moment I cut down the engines, that oxidizer should start flowing. Let me check something. It's almost like these aren't on. Nope, they're on. Okay, they're a lot slower than... I keep expecting them to be a lot faster than they are at draining oxidizer and producing power, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so there you go. We got fuel cells hidden in there, powering the systems. You notice also the ammunition. Yes, ammunition and these things are also placed behind the center of mass. Basically, everything that was added on this to make the, well, I was about to say modded version, but actually the quote-unquote stock version also uses adjustable landing gear, so there is no stock version. You might have noticed I've pretty much stopped making stock versions of planes because the stock landing gear are just such a pain in the ass that I've just decided pretty much to abandon trying to use them, and I just use adjustable landing gear on all my craft now. As you can see, we can get to some pretty serious speed. I think I've already mentioned that, but yes, pretty serious speed with this version. I was kind of scared that I wouldn't pull out of that loop in time. That's why I did it at an angle instead of straight down. But as you can see, everything went well. Yeah. Let's go ahead and just... Nope, not that. But just fire these missiles randomly so you can... There you go. And take the JDAM, and will you let me drop one inverted? Yes, you will. Awesome, KSP. Awesome. Or rather, BD Armory, but you get my point. The, because basically, BD Armory has this thing where it tries to only let you release armaments when it's safe to, and fortunately, it's smart enough to recognize that if you're pulling up, you can release armaments even when they're above you, if you're pulling up, even if they just drop down. Also, the, what did I fire that made us do the collision effects? I don't know. I think it was the JDAMs. I forgot. But yes, we also have these rockets. Oh yes. To hit those, I need to fire the action group. And you can see we can fire quite a bit of those. Look at that. That line of destruction caused by firing all the... Wow, look at that. We basically did a circle of those. So yeah, it's a pretty fun design, I think. One thing I'm going to take a quick look at on this version is to show you a multi-role fighter based on a fictional variant of the F-35, designed for speed, ECM, stealth, and solo capability, ideal for deep strikes into enemy territory. The low-altitude interceptor is specifically designed for fast stealth ground attack. It is notable for modified rear landing gear to support the change in center of mass. Toggle afterburner with 1, fire weapon with 2, next with 3, 4 for deploying flares and chaff, and 8 to enable the ECM jamming and fuel cell. Tailplane was inspired by the YF-35E, like I was telling you. The rest of the F-35E design is based on the F-35, and of course this version is a little different. And thanks to Time Symmetry, the developer of Vector Thrust, for the idea, because this is based off of a fictional variant in that game, which I need to make another video of and check out again, especially because it's been officially released, even though I don't think it's really ready for that per se. I mean, I kind of expected more out of it than I think it's currently at, but that's for another video, another time. So here we have the regular, like, no weaponry version of the YF-35E. As you can see, we have reaction wheels back here instead of those little tiny fuel tanks like the other one had. And you can see the landing gear on the rear are reversed like this instead of splayed outwards the other way. And the center of mass and center of lift, as you can see, the center of mass is further forward. The center of lift is partially cheated by these AVT-1 winglets up front, but mostly this is about how it was. And for one more quick demonstration of the design, basically I'm going to fly the non-weaponized version and show you that it can get to some serious speeds. And oh yeah, let's get that out of there because we're not using BD Armory right now. Oh yes, let's get a nice picture of it. But of course we're going really fast now, so that's going to ruin any nice picture that I'd have. So I'm going to slow down. Come on, slow down. Okay, there you go, we've slowed down pretty good. Nice screenshot like that. Let's go ahead and floor it again, because, like I said, I am going for speed right now. And, yeah. Just look at that, though. I love it. It's such a sleek design. I don't really do sleek very well in KSP, so this, well, it's not the best sleek design, but it's good enough for me. Good enough for me. Yep. And as you can see, we're getting to like 500 meters per second now. And we're at a fairly low altitude for this kind of speed. So you can see this thing definitely has some serious push behind it. 600 meters per second, and we're still going. We're about to hit Mach 2. Mach 2 has been achieved. And we're only at, well, we're about to be at 4,000 meters. And we're at Mach 2.5 now. We're pretty much about to start getting, not re-entry, but we're about to get shock heating from going so fast. And you can see we might make it to Mach 3. I have a feeling something on here will overheat before we get that fast. Then again, we are also raising altitude. We're not raising altitude fast enough, though, to escape that. Doing pretty well. Nothing's warning about overheating. Wow, look at that. Wow. And, oh, we're starting to slow down, though. So, yeah. Pitch up at this high speed, and you can see we get insane amount of Gs, but we can turn quite effectively. Oh, something's overheating there. Probably the strut in there, I'm guessing. I forget if I will see that. No, we did not actually take enough damage there for me to see what it is. But, yeah, this thing, even when going at that high speed, even at a relatively high altitude, not the highest, but relatively high, we were able to turn around quite effectively. It only took, like, what, 30 seconds to turn around? Lost most of our speed, of course, but what do you expect when you're going that fast? You've basically got to depart all of the speed you had and then pick it up again going the other direction. So, you know, inertia, that kind of thing. Physics do how words work. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Bottom line, I really like this thing. I'm going to go ahead and speed it up real fast. And, okay, we're going to 2.5, Mach 2.5, that is. I'm talking in Mach. 2.8, 2.85, 2.86, and we're probably going to start slowing down here pretty soon. No, we're still speeding up. I'm afraid we're going to get low enough into the altitude, low enough into the atmosphere to start losing our speed pretty soon here. Nope, we're still managing to push it higher. We are very dangerously close to overheating one of the engines, and that part in there is about to detonate. So we're going to see how vital that is. Okay, there we go. Detonated. And it looks like the part that was overheating violently was one of the two engines. And we're able to keep flying at a reasonably high speed with just one. Let's go ahead and... I didn't see the air brake being above the center of mass and going at those speeds. It's enough to actually have us pull up when you do that. We're going to go ahead and activate this one on the afterburner again, and we're going to get going again to see how fast we can go with just one engine to show that this thing, even if you don't like the idea of having a cheated double engine like that, if you take one of the engines off, this thing still flies pretty damn good. In fact, I'm kind of questioning my decision to have cheated engines now, because while the other version is ridiculous, this version, now, well, this version that I've accidentally created mid-flight is still doing a pretty decent speed. I mean, we're only going just above Mach 1, but just above Mach 1 is still a good speed. And you can see we maintain quite a bit of speed during this turn. Well, yeah, we're still at like Mach 0.6. Well, we're dropping now, when we're still dropping. But the acceleration's not quite as good, but it's pretty close. Like, it's actually pretty good, even with just one engine. So, like I said, if you dislike the idea of having the cheaty engine like that, then just take out an engine. Although that's easier said than done, because I had to use, what's it called? What's that thing called, KSP? Part clipping in the editor where you... Yeah, the thing where it'll let you attach multiple things to the same attachment node, and that is a bug hazard and can cause problems, and probably will if you try to fix that. But it's not too difficult to fix. Shouldn't be too difficult to fix. Damn. Oh, we were so close to pulling level. I should have watched the nav ball closer instead of the ground. I saw that the ground was coming up, and I thought I'd turn just right to evade it, but if I'd watched the nav ball, I would have noticed that I was definitely not close enough to pulling up. Anyhow, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in space. Yes, I know the vessel's destroyed. But wait, you're asking, where's the anti-air version, or the air-to-air version, which is this version, which has an AI pilot on it, 3 AMRAMs, and 6 Sidewinders. There you go. Oh, and it has 50 cal machine guns that are mounted here, the Browning 50 cals, rather than the turreted 50 cals.